my glass, so that's never going to work, is it?
I just had to check that we're still rolling. Yep. Okay, cool.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry. Yeah, because that Patreon thing didn't work out too well. Can he go that joke twice in 2 podcasts? Yes, he can, ladies and
He's
gentlemen.
doubled down on the
Yes, he
Patreon.
can. Thanks.
Cheers.
Oh, I just broke his finger.
Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach, and we're back with Langers.
Hello, thank
Talking
you.
a bit of SuperCoach. Now, the Marsh Community Series, week 1.
What a wild week of 5 games. It was just amazing, you know?
It was.
Yeah. No, it was good to finally see some numbers.
It was.
What we wanted to see. We had our eyes on a few players. We wanted to see some things, positional options for players. That's probably the most important thing.
Yeah.
And certainly getting some big numbers from some premium players, or just any players you're keeping an eye on, for that matter, is always positive reinforcement. You know, you're not sure about this guy.
That's what it's about, mate.
Yeah.
Great cap too.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah. So there were some comments about the last podcast too, I tell
Yeah,
you. People were getting around it, you know.
It's all me again.
Well, yeah.
I come on to boost your viewership. I've got to bring the content, and the people like it.
Yeah, well, give your own channel a plug, mate. This bloke is a photographer. I mean, get over to Jake Langenegger Photography.
There couldn't be any more different viewing audiences, but yeah.
It's like, get Petrarch, and then it's like, unpacking my camera bag. Light and shade.
Light and shade. It's called contrast. Get real.
Oh.
So firstly, I've made a couple of changes to my team from last I was on here.
That's what I like to hear.
One of them is very contentious, and I'll start with that one last. So can you just...
You'll start with that one last. Cool. Carry on.
I'll finish with that one. It's more of a discussion point. So
cool.
Stop copying my homework. So out of my team comes Dangerfield and Nathaniel Fife.
There was a couple, Fife as well. I didn't know that.
There was a couple of stats that just didn't bode well with me. I said last time that I was flip-flopping between Cripps and Fife. Neither of them played, but I just think Fife has been more injury-prone. Cripps is in his absolute prime. Like, you cannot pick a better performing player than Cripps in the midfield at the moment. Yeah, I reckon he were in the Brownlow this year. I reckon he was stiff to not win it last year.
It's fair.
I had $1,000 bet with Watto that he would win the Brownlow as well, and we were all disappointed.
Well, Fife, I've said this throughout the pre-season. He is a guy that does tend to miss 2, maybe 5 games. He just the way he plays. He cops so much, and so does Cripps. But I mean, history says Cripper hasn't missed as many games, and you don't have to sell me on Paddy Boy. I absolutely love him.
I also love Paddy. If he was forward eligible, I'd be 100% picking him. I said that in the last pod as well.
This is Paddy Dangerfield, yes? We're switching between Paddies here.
Yes. Excuse me. Dangerfield. If he was forward, I'd 100% pick him. But for that price, there are other options which probably have more security, especially because Dangerfield is looking more like a forward swing man as of late for Geelong's game plans. There's still no secure forward foothold between Jenkins, Hawkins, Asava. I don't really know what they're doing. Dangerfield could very much float forward and lose points by not being in the midfield. If he was a forward eligible player, it wouldn't affect it because he's not taking up a position in our midfield.
And just where they're at in their careers too. I mean, we've seen Paddy go up, knock out 130 averages, 121, 115. He probably will plateau, still average real good, but...
He'll pato. Pato Dangerfield.
I should they call him pato. Then you got Cripps, who...
He's gone up, isn't he?
You genuinely feel like this bloke's going to average 120-something at some stage in his career. I think he just about has already anyway, but, right up there.
Yeah, him and a man that you seem to dislike, Marcus Bontempelli. I watched your video yesterday, and you were trying to not sell me on Bontempelli, and all the points were selling me on Bontempelli.
All right, let's thrash it out.
No, but I'm just saying, Bontempelli and Cripps are these young, strong bulls, and they're going up.
It's not.
Fife and Dangerfield.
That's my Tinder bio, actually.
Young, strong bull. Fife and Dangerfield aren't necessarily crashing and burning, but they surely have to be on a decline now. So for players priced around a similar price point, you'd be picking the ones that seem to have more of a, that lift, like a hot air balloon. Yeah. I don't know why.
Ricky Nixon.
So Fife Dangerfield out for Cripps and Josh Kelly. He's in that similar mould, and apparently he's doing very well in pre-season.
Well, we're starting to align here, mate.
Yes, we are aligning a little. We won't be aligning later on.
Okay. But now, Kelly and Cripps I absolutely love. Yeah.
It's the changing of the guard.
Yeah.
We watched a fair bit of the Australian Open.
Yeah.
Dominic Thiem.
Oh, fuck. His big build-up. Suchan Tendorker.
Virat Kohli. Dominic Thiem.
Yeah.
These younger players are pushing the older guys out, and I think that's what's happening in the AFL too. It's a modern, dynamic game, and these players like Cripps and Bontempelli who can just do everything. Like Cripps is the same height as Jonathan Brown.
Yeah.
And he's playing midfield. Bontempelli's doing stuff like he's doing in this first season practice match. Like Dangerfield played his practice match and he was like, I'll get 10 touches in the first quarter and then get taken off at quarter time, and Bond's getting 37 and 2 goals.
Yeah.
He just wants to play. He can play. He hasn't been injured much, Bond.
Yeah.
Josh Kelly's in that same
dropped your bottle cap there,
mould. He's going up. Injury somewhat behind him, and this could be a big year for him and the Giants themselves. I reckon he could, pop.
I know Kelly's missed games, but it's not like he's got this recurring knee issue, or there's, I don't think there's this issue with him.
It was just like a one-off sort of thing.
Players get injured.
Players get injured.
And on the changing the guard thing, it's a good point, because we're not saying that Fife and Dangerfield are going to have poor seasons or fall off a cliff, but every player tends to have a 3 to 5 year window, like the very best. And 3 years of your absolute prime. And I think we know that Cripper and Kelly are coming into that perhaps peaking soon. Yeah. Where you're asking guys who have done it to get back to their absolute best, where I feel like, you're right, there's a curve, and they're not going to spike 20 points, but it could be 5, 8 points.
And it's just the consistency too.
Yeah.
They're fresh, their bodies can do it every week. Dangerfield started looking a bit old, and to be honest.
And that's what you got to be concerned about, is at some stage these premiers that rely upon time and time again, some stage they do get old. And,
eventually.
And sometimes they fall off by 2 or 3 points, sometimes 6 or 7 points. And
it can hurt you. And I'm very cautious this year about not being biased. I want to go, I'd love to go with my heart for every pick, but you have to go with your head. And you made a comment in one of the recent pods, you got to start so strong, because if, like last year, you get Sam Menegolid instead of Tim Kelly, and I was behind the 8 ball from round 3, and I just could not make it back, because you said, you got to trade out a Primo to bring in a Primo, you're down a trade. It's just a nightmare. So I'm starting strong. If Dangerfield comes good by round 10, bang, get in there, Paddy. Get in there, son.
Right. That's right.
So think with your head, not with your heart. I think that's a pretty cliche thing to say, but I don't always enact it. But I'm deciding to do that this year. The next discussion...
This is contentious, This is good.
A lot of people have brought Dan Houston in to their teams. I've done this at the expense of Sam Doherty.
Wow, interesting. That's very interesting.
I was looking at my 4 defenders, Lloyd, Daniel, Sicily, and Doherty. And I was like, I couldn't pick one.
Yeah.
I couldn't pick one. I haven't seen anything from Doherty yet, so I don't know. But it's that same sort of mantra of the young, raging bull like yourself coming in and just having a bit more consistency. And not saying Doherty's old, but we still haven't seen any practice from him. Apparently he played really well in the practice game against Collingwood. But I want to see it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
Seems like Houston's a lock value-wise. His point output's probably going to be similar to Doherty anyway. And there's still no guarantee Doherty gets back to that form he was in. I think Sicily's an absolute lock because of this McAvoy rumour that he's going to be playing back, which lasted very well in their practice match until he did a calf or a corky or something. Sicily loves those intercept marks, which is gold for SuperCoach. Jake Lloyd, I missed out on last year. I was actually contemplating getting rid of Jake Lloyd for Houston, and that would have, to me, made my backline very thin because they're all relatively young players that don't have that 100% like backed experience like Lloyd has the last couple of years. So I just had to keep Lloyd in. Daniel is in the same position as Sicily. He's just like that guaranteed point scorer with those cheap kicks and like intercept marks somehow for a midget in the back line.
Intercept possessions,
So I've got Lloyd, Daniel, Sicily, Houston, and no Sam Doherty.
And I think I agree with you in the fact that we haven't seen Doherty.
Yep.
And he has missed a stack of football.
He has,
so
a Sydney stack
we need
of football.
we need to see it. And
and
you're right, I don't think he's going to come out and average that 116 or anything like that.
No.
But I still think if his body is right, you just got to jump on board at that price because he's not going to last at that price.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how the rest of your team's looking, but Lloyd's
pretty good.
You know, what is he? Over 100k more than Houston. So if you could use that 100+ K elsewhere, then Lloyd down to Houston, you know, it might not be the Lloyd versus Doherty. It might be here's 150k.
Or like Lord. Jake Lloyd. Lloyd down to Doherty is a very feasible option as well. I don't know if it was you that said it, but if you start with the primo, you go big, and then if you're not sure of them, you can always go down and just make 100k with a similar performing player, and then use that 100k elsewhere. And Doherty's next. If I had another position in defence and another position in my midfield, I'd be going Doherty and Bontempelli if I had the money. But Doherty, I'm sorry, you're not out for good, but it's just one of those things based on the first week. I'm not jumping the gun. You can always take a photo of your team, take a screenshot, and then just check what your team looks like before and after the Marsh series, and then go from there.
I've seen your gallery, mate. I wouldn't be looking at your screenshots too often, but anyway, I'll take a look at.
I was checking we're still. Just checking we're still recording.
Look away for one moment.
Something made a beep. I just had to check that we're still rolling. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, it made a beep, so we would have been doing this whole thing and it's not recording.
Cool.
So
Cool.
It's just you're very pale, so the numbers at the bottom.
Yeah, I've been working on my tan. Not very well. It's the lighting, mate.
Good if the weather was actually good too. How are you looking after
not much change, mate.
Okay,
not much change.
Calm down.
I'm big on Tom Williamson. I'm big on him. I've already. What's so funny?
We were both watching the Gold Coast Geelong game, and both of us were like, "Who the hell is Connor Butterick?
Yeah,
who's this kid?
Just snapping goals on his right," and I'm just like,
I brought him in too for just whatever no-name rookie I had on my third bench spot. Because he's a name, and he looks like he's going to play round one.
He actually looks pretty good.
Because the forward press that he had against the terrible Geelong side, Gold Coast looked amazing. Rowell is now locked. Anderson didn't do amazingly, but Butterick and McPherson had this amazing forward pressure, and caused a couple of goals.
And my boy Greenwood was impressive.
Yes,
mate. Very
he
impressive.
was. I'm not convinced because obviously Gold Coast played really well. So I'd like to see him play a second game and see how they go then. I mean, it'd be great to see in the future and see how Greenwood goes in the first 5 weeks. But it looks like I said, the numbers are there. He's got that age profile, that games profile, the leadership profile at Gold Coast to just score minimum like 75 each week at Gold Coast. So,
and I think he's a genuine chance to average in the early 90s, and that should probably be enough. But I don't think I made any notable changes from my last video that I did. Dangerfield has left my side as well. I've brought in Dunkley.
No notable changes. Dangerfield out.
But I think I had that in my last team thing.
Right.
But and Lockie Neal, I don't reckon I had him last time. And I'm not even sure.
I think I said
what I did.
You got to get Neal in because he just looked extremely solid in a losing side.
I'm not even sure what I did do there. Might have been Cornelio that I chopped.
Yeah, you definitely had Cornelio in.
Cornelio.
Yeah, the skip.
Yeah. But otherwise, really no change to my side. But I'll tell you what Here's what I'm thinking, mate.
Tell me.
And it does involve Greenwood and a Gold Coast teammate, Lockie Weller. Just keep a bloody eye on him.
The number 2.
Attended the second most amount of set and bounces. Yep. He is a midfielder by trade. Spent a lot of time down back.
Yep.
There aren't that many differences between him and Houston, but Houston's getting all the love.
He's got the profile.
And I really think that Weller could be a guy that is in a lot of teams at some stage throughout the season. I don't think many will start with him, and I don't think I will start with him either.
Great draft option.
Very good draft
option.
option.
Are his numbers similar to Houston's in the last couple of years?
Not the last couple of years, no. But
cool.
But I'm just talking bloke that is going to play a lot of midfield, having previously played down back. And Weller's a much more credentialed player than Houston in terms of the hype.
Yeah.
Houston's done a bit more at AFL level.
Came from nowhere.
Yeah.
No one knew who he was 3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he took a hanger 1 year.
Yeah.
With Dwayne Houston.
No.
You haven't got a problem.
Yeah.
And then that was it. And then he had
Dwayne Pipe. You know they call him Pipe?
Pipe. Why's that?
Dwayne Pipe.
Like a drain
drain pipe. Not the best nickname,
yeah,
but...
that joke just went down the drain, so down the Dwayne.
It's not my nickname, mate. That's what they call it.
It's all right, mate. It's all good. It's a good one.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, no, Houston.
Anyway, but here's what I'm thinking, mate.
Yes, tell me.
And you're right, Greenwood isn't absolutely locked and loaded. I was very impressed by him.
Yes.
But there are limitations to his game. There's not like he's an absolute lock. Now, Jack Stephen, very good intra-club performance. He's going to play against the Bombers.
Which we'll be seeing live.
This is twofold, mate. This is twofold. It's not like I just prefer Stephen over Greenwood.
Yep.
But if Stephen is just thrown to that Geelong midfield, there's plenty of positions for that.
Yes.
Greenwood down to Stephen. And here's the two-folder. If Aiden Bonner makes himself irresistible, then that could just be a little key to that one. Unlocks 100k, rookie up to Bonner. Bob's your uncle.
Marg's your aunt.
Well, yeah, unless she's got a mustache, so and she's your uncle.
You got against mustaches, mate?
Not the biggest fan, buddy.
So you're saying if Stephen has this unbelievable form with maybe a more experienced background, Greenwood down to Stephen, with that extra money, put a rookie up to Bonner.
I'd be careful with how you go about that, mate.
Aiden, the North Melbourne player.
Yeah. Look, two little triggers. I need to see Stephen play well, and I'll be easily convinced. It won't take much.
Well, Bonner had the second highest projected score for if he played 100% game time. So he's got the guns.
He does, but
physically
right now he's a prime example of like Tom Bell that we saw years ago playing at Brisbane, clearances all over the joint. Then Zorko and someone else came back and it's like, see you, Tom, catch you later. How's the NEFL going? I think Bonner will get a fair bit of opportunity through these games.
Yeah.
But whether he gets, he's going to spend more time in the forward line in the actual season. It's just if he can get some mid-time. I mean, let's just get him in round 1 first.
Yeah.
Then
he'll be in round 1.
I think so. And if he can get some midfield time, which I think he would.
He would. He's got such a big unit of
He's
a
big frame, and I think North need that because Cunnington aside, I feel like Dumont is kind of that type, but he probably doesn't have the polish. I'm not sure if Bonner does, but then they've got a lot of those silkier types.
They do.
Like
they haven't got
Higgins, Pollock, even like a Simpkin.
Aaron Hall.
Hall is another one. So I feel like he could fit the bill for that.
He balances them up really well. Yeah, he's just that bit of muscle to their class.
So it wouldn't take much. If I see something from Bonner and I see something from Stephen, my old mate Hugh is choppable.
Yeah.
As much as I have pumped him up and I love him.
You can probably argue that Stephen and Greenwood would have a similar output. Yeah,
for sure.
Based on how Stephen looks. He's not going to drop to 50s and 60s, is he?
Look, here's the thing, mate. Greenwood, I think he is a lock to average between 85 and 95. Put your house on it. He'll be there. Where Stephen could average early hundreds.
Yeah.
If all goes well.
He could be like another Tim Kelly sort of situation.
If all goes wrong, it's not so much about what he averages, but he could be injured, having other issues. More can go wrong with the Stephen pick. So that's basically what it comes down to. But
I do love a good refreshment story. You know, a player goes to another club and they're rejuvenated. Yale House or baby. Not so much SuperCoach wise, but just I mean, Dangerfield, if you want to talk about refurbishment. Dangerfield just came in, you know, hit those waves like he hit the football, and
I had to refurbish my underwear after he took that mark against. Oh my goodness!
Dangerfield, and then he missed the goal.
Dennis Committee's good. Committee. Bruce is like,
oh. So, were there any other notable performances in the Marsh series, Daniel? Anyone starting with the C?
Petrarca, mate. Have a look at him.
Are you sure he wasn't in your team as captain?
No, he wasn't.
I like that little bit that you did in your vid, where you went back and comedic gold, ladies and gentlemen. So,
well, every year I pump him up.
I've heard. I saw it.
As we know, he's like Petrarca and Heaney. Sometimes I fall asleep thinking about him, mate. But
wow.
He couldn't have been any more impressive. Not just the numbers, but just the look.
He looked very trimmed down as well. Yes.
He looked trim, but he still had that explosive, powerful nature to his game. He was just a bull. And I don't know who they really had missing. Maybe Brayshaw, and that's about it from their midfield
No one at the
department.
midfield. I mean, even Vanderberg was back, so maybe having that forward role taken up by Vanderberg releases Petrarca. Maybe we just had a brainwave.
Yeah.
Maybe we just had a grainwave.
Grainwave. Could go on.
Yeah.
Salt and vinegar, a little
This video was not sponsored by Grainwaves chips.
But if Grainwaves are out there, I'm looking for sponsorship.
Yeah, because that Patreon thing didn't work out too well. Can he go that joke twice in 2 podcasts? Yes, he can, ladies and gentlemen.
He's doubled down on the Patreon.
Yes, he can.
Anyone interested in sending Shorty some coin? There you go.
That's why I'm here, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. Keep an eye on Petrarca. He's going to be juicy this year.
Yeah. And
keep an eye on him.
And I think last time I checked, he was in about 6 or 7% of sides. Checked today, 12%.
Yeah, bang. He's doubled.
Bit of a mover.
Yeah, like Bont went up.
Bont 15 to 24%. I bet you it's even gone up. Now let me just whip my laptop out.
It's going to be nearing 30, I guarantee. Rowan Marshall as well. Hard to sort of gauge.
Yeah.
With Ryder and Abbott in the team. But
give me 10 seconds and I'll give you a big call. Bontempelli's still in 24% of sides.
Yeah, so that went well.
Don't pick Rowan Marshall. Do not pick him.
Right, yeah.
No.
You can't, like, Ryder's literally a thorn in his side now.
Too much can go wrong. You'll be kicking yourself. He's still going to have a good season for his position. He'll play a good season of football, but he's not going to get the same opportunities. He'll have some big scores. He did on the weekend, but there'll be games where Ryder is the standout in the ruck and gets more opportunity. Yep. There'll be games where it's vice versa. Don't.
If he was forward eligible?
Yeah.
I think it's a good combination for St Kilda. They're both ruck forward, so they can just...
Yeah. And I watched Marshall in the VFL before he got drafted, obviously in Ballarat, and he was a pretty good forward for sure. And so I think it's going to be good for the team. But yeah, just on Petrarca, just finally, I'd be hard pressed to pick him.
Yeah.
But
what if he shows something juicy next week? What if Melbourne look the goods? It might be the answer for that F3 position because it's either Greenwood, Devon Smith or Jack Stephen. And then Christian Petrarca just comes in with his like wealth of experience. The hard work story that Melbourne is. You know. And they've been through hell last year.
Well, I'm watching their to hell and back thing. They didn't
hide me, so I'm not gonna watch it. They can get stuff. So
jump onto the Melbourne website. Very good doco. Inner sanctum stuff. You would have done
it much better.
I saw their drone shot and I was like, Lang's could have done that, but whatever.
Could have been vlog style,
but great pre-season fitness. As big a load as they've ever done.
And they're putting themselves out there, so they know that something has to come good.
It's a message.
Because otherwise it's going to be super embarrassing if they're like, oh, we're going to build this year, and then it's like, oh.
Yeah. it's a message to the members as much as anything.
And I think all of them got to kick up the arse as well. So they'll be back this year.
Yeah.
It's a maturing year. They've got a good list.
Yeah.
Clary, Viney, Petrarca. Gorn's just been announced captain. Viney looked like he was going to murder him in the street. But I want Petrarca in as my F3.
Yeah. That's a big call.
I want a solid F3 option.
Yeah.
And Petrarca is looming as that, unless Sam Menegola scores 800 points in in 3 weeks, or unless Tim McCallie becomes forward eligible again. Yep.
Well, the thing that I'm wrestling with, and I sort of touched on it, is that as I really do like the Greenwood option, and a few weeks back where forward players were seeming really difficult to have any faith in.
Yep.
That was all I was after at F3. But now you get these practice games and you start to dream. You start to go the F3 that breaks out and averages high 90s, maybe even 3 figures. And that's what Petrarca could do. Let's just remove the scar tissue, the bad nightmares that we've had over
that knife out of your back and the other one
in recent years.
And that one too.
Because it is hard to forgive these guys. But if you go back to when he was drafted, these performances were what we expected and just basically thought would happen. But it hasn't happened, so we shift our thought process. But, yeah.
I genuinely think he will be a premium forward this year. He had a shocking year last year. He was the poster boy for their woes. Him and Clayton early, but Petrarca, remember that?
He hit back in the second half.
I know, but it wasn't good. Even his body was being questioned, his fitness, his commitment.
I think last game of the year, maybe he went into the midfield against North Melbourne.
Yep.
I think he had 26 touches, 7 clearances. Go check the stats out, but there are little glimpses at AFL level in a home and away season that show he can do it in the midfield. I just wonder, if that opportunity is there for him. But
I'll just have a look while you
you just have a little
talking. Anyone else you wanted to talk about from
last
series?
I want to thrash out the Bontempelli thing. We agree on a lot, but let's have a debate here. I mean, you didn't agree. Are you all in on Bont? Is he in your side?
I'm not 100% all in, but I just think he's in his prime, and the way he played in that first week, and his captain, and he played well last year with Dunkley and McRae.
Yeah.
I know, it just seemed you were just writing him off completely, or get him. There was no middle ground.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to paint both sides of the picture. I mean, my verdict, if you like, was I'm not going to go with him. And I really do think, there's 2 blokes in the same team that you'd go with in front of him. But he's different to other midfielders, and that can be his pro and his con. His impact is so huge with such little ball. And just such is the way of the SuperCoach scoring system. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes, you don't get the same impact from 23, 24 touches, and then it falls you short with somewhere in the 80s. Now, I don't know what it is in his game, but he doesn't seem to get, say that extra 6 to 10 easy touches, which brings guys like Neil and Mitchell and Rockley for the past to 35, 40.
Yep.
That's not to say he's a worse player, because you could argue he's better than all those guys. But when it comes to scoring, I just have concerns. He's averaged 114 last year, but the 4 years previous, where we classified him as a gun, he averaged between 103 and 107 point whatever.
Yep.
So you're right. You could mount the case, and I couldn't smack you down for saying that he could average 110 plus again. But I think we both agree in not starting him, because there is maybe that slight question mark, and you don't want to spend 600 odd K with a question mark.
Dunkley and McRae being there also takes points off him, especially with the rise of Dunkley in the second half of last year. He just turned into this premium, gun, insane player at 22. I like how Bont plays. He's very efficient, and he's there for all the big stuff. I mean, the favourite video that you watch on YouTube, Johannesen kicks him towards the 50. Bontempelli slaps it, picks it up, and kicks the goal, and the Dogs into the grand final. Daniel, when you think of Bont, that's what he does. So
he's a big time player.
It's juicy.
So
reminds me of Scott Pendlebury. Do you know that Scott Pendlebury played basketball in his junior?
Does he have a basketball background?
Yeah, he does actually.
Far out.
He does. Yeah.
There you go. That must be why his time and space.
Yeah.
He played
He's
basketball.
got time that slows down around him, and he nearly killed a pigeon.
Hey, what's the time, mate?
It's 7:24. Daniel, why?
Want to go watch maths, mate?
I think you should trade out maths and trade in a life, to be honest. But
Doctor?
Sure.
Oh my God, will they get married or not? Oh my God.
Oh, well, this podcast is officially going to end in divorce. So, thanks for having me on again and ruining it with that. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back for some more
I'm not
SuperCoach
coming back after
and
that.
maths discussion.
Yeah, thanks.
Cheers.
Oh, I just broke his finger. He's not.
There you go.
Yeah, thanks.
What the hell was that noise?
It just cracked.